don't sign a long-term deal, bro. Don't sign a long-term deal. Please don't. Just because you win one chip with Ferrari doesn't mean that Ferrari is going to continue to do what you need them to do. And the best way to hold Ferrari accountable, Shaw, is sign a one-year deal with one contingent. Okay? Right. I'm doing the whole Japanese flick. We're doing the Japanese flick. I figure I'd throw a little nostalgia in there. No, that shit's not on purpose. So, yes, if you do that, sign a one deal to keep them honest. Keep them motivated to prove to you that they should have you. Do that. Don't sign a long-term deal with Ferrari, bro. Even if you win the championship in 2024, sign a 1+1 with a contingency that, hey, these are what I need, not for you, but for you to tell Ferrari, these are the things that I need you to meet in order for me to consider signing the next year with you. Make them earn your trust. Make them earn your ability, Shaw, because you need to have the opportunity. Don't do like Lando. You need to have the opportunity and the ability to jump to another team to progress your career. All right? You would have spent, what is this, going to be 5 seasons that you spent with Ferrari? You got no championship to show for it. How many more seasons do you want to spend with them before you see that you're not going to get another championship? Now, if they show you this, then keep going, right? And now we get to this next thing. Mercedes says that they are indeed 100% about inking a deal with Lewis Hamilton. Cool, you should be. You should be. He's a far better driver than Shaw is right now at this point in stage in his career and in Charles' career. He's going to give you feedback. Shaw has proven that he's not really a leader. Lewis Hamilton is a leader in his camp. All right. Lewis Hamilton's going to go scout. He's going to give feedback. He's going to be in that radio room. He's going to be at the track late. He's going to be doing all that stuff for development. Charles has shown us that he's not really a leader, go-ahead type. Even Russell has shown me that he'll take the reins regardless of how bad it might be. Russell will take the reins and take leadership of a team. He will. Okay, so Mercedes have that in both. They have that element in both their drivers. They have the building element in Russell, and they have the established element in Lewis Hamilton. So, yeah, of course you're willing to ink that deal, but it's going to cost you. And I'm going to tell you all this. One or two ways are going to happen. Lewis Hamilton either wants a long-term and a legacy-type deal, which will have him facilitate a role in Mercedes outside of being a driver with his contract, or Lewis Hamilton at this point in time, if he does not trust and believe that this car and this team and these engineers and Toto are going to be able to build and develop a car for him to win his 8th and on, what am I staying for? What am I doing? I don't have anything else to prove to anybody. At this point in time, it's just about cementing and building on my legacy. Lewis Hamilton doesn't have anything to prove to anybody. He's a 7-time world champion. He only sits holding the record tied with Schumacher. And there's a couple of incidences that we can go back and look at where it really shouldn't be that way. The illegal fuel, which they knew they used it and they didn't penalize him. He should have had that. 2021, he should have had that. And I'm not saying shoulda because his efforts. I'm saying shoulda because things were done incorrectly. Things were found to be illegal, and they chose not to penalize or go and reevaluate the situations. He doesn't have anything to prove. Galactics, Lewis should stay one longer than Alonso. And that's the only other thing, right? Do you ride? And this is what Galacticus, thank you, bro, for that super chat. People that are saying this is who I'm talking to. I'm talking to people that are saying this. Let me get big when I say this. If you honestly think that Lewis Hamilton has something to prove, you are sadly mistaken. You're sadly mistaken. Lewis Hamilton doesn't have anything to prove. If you think it's okay for Alonso to stay here, and you're talking about Alonso is still great, Alonso can still do good things, why do you think that is? You think it's Alonso, you think it's more beneficial that the AMR 23 happened to come up and be a better car than he's been in for the last 17 years and gave him the opportunity and a refreshing in his driving career. So if you're not saying that Alonso needs to leave the sport, if you're not saying that Alonso is washed, if you're not saying that Alonso needs to hang it up, you damn well should not be saying that Lewis Hamilton, 7-time world champion, as great as a driver as he's proven to be with the records that he holds, don't try to stack him up. Because if you stack up, you're going to be like tick, tick, tick with Alonso, and everybody else is going to be like tick, 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 tick with Lewis, and tick, 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 and keep going. The man holds several work records in the game of Formula One. Unlike Alonso, let's just keep it real and be honest. Let's stop all the capping. Stop capping. There's not another driver as decorated and as accomplished and as seasoned as Lewis Hamilton. Now, I know Max Verstappen is the new hot thing, but don't forget, Galactic says Lewis should stay 1 week longer than Alonso. Oh, damn. He should. Let's not forget. Max Verstappen been in the game for 7 seasons, 6 seasons before he started winning, all right? Do not forget that. You're already hearing that he might not stay as long as you thinking he may need to stay, and he's also talking about he not worried about records and I don't know how true all that is. I just know he talking about what he ain't going to do, and when I hear a bunch of people talking about what they ain't going to do and how they feel about what they don't want to do, eventually they end up not doing nothing. Let's go down to this next quote that they talked about. Let's go down to the next quote they talked about because they talked about another one. He said, I think nobody doubts Charles' ability. He's a good guy, added Wolf. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. I'm just being honest with you. I think some people do doubt his ability because he's shown that he can make critical mistakes to cost himself race wins, and we've seen it several times. We've seen it several times. And I'm talking about race retiring DNF mistakes. These are the things that he does. Lewis Hamilton does not do that nearly as much. Don't even try to do that. Not even really. Okay. Lesh says most people just say Lewis to return because they don't like him. The reasons never make sense. This past weekend, one example, he's more than still great. Thank you, Lesh. Very facts. Most of you all have an admiration and appreciation for everything that Lewis Hamilton has done. You just don't either like the tone of person of skin color that it's coming from, or your admiration comes out as hate because you're a driver or you can't do it. I've always said this, okay? There are those who do and those who talk about those who do. That's it. Lesh, retire, I meant not return. I got you. Lewis to retire, right? They want him to retire. And another reason why I've literally heard some people say for Lewis to retire is so Max Verstappen doesn't have competition and he can win up championships. I've literally had people mention this. Like, I wish Lewis Hamilton retired so Max can just go unchallenged. Wow. Wow. That's not the thing to say. But yes, I gotta push back a little bit on Toto saying that nobody doubts Charles. I don't think that's true. I think Charles can have his moments. He's had his moments where people would be I'm not going to say in the right. I'm going to say that I can't fully blame them if they do doubt Charles because he's made these mistakes that have ended his races himself. He's pushed too far when he didn't have to. He's made these errors, and those are driver errors. And those driver errors, unless he tightens up on them, will follow him to Mercedes or anywhere else. They will, okay? Now, Toto also said, I think, and this goes in regards to Lewis Hamilton, says, I think he feels much that he's strong, which I don't doubt that. Lewis Hamilton is ready to go. We feel the same. We're not going to race for driver championships. Again, another season, Mercedes is not racing for driver championships. You're possibly going to race for constructor championship. Maybe, because I don't think you're getting that. Red Bull's running away with that. I don't think you're not even fighting for a constructor championship at this point in time. I'm being dead serious. Lewis is the only one who can challenge Max. What about George, Charles, Checo? Okay, so Freak Dogs Flair, which is our most recent VIP member, and he got the gift card from the Quality Kickback Trivia. So congratulations to him again. I love congratulating people. All right, so yes, I do believe in machinery, especially equally or even close, Lewis Hamilton is probably the most likely driver that would challenge Max, and Max even knows this. But I think we were robbed of a moment in Baku, at Baku Circuit at Azerbaijan, the race we just had finished watching. I think we were robbed of an opportunity to see, and I think they saved Max. I think they saved his emotions, because had they left Max on track and Perez came around him, I think that would have been really bad for Max. I think it would have been bad for his mental and his emotions and the team. I think it would have been bad for their campaign to be behind the driver that they want to stay behind, which is Max Verstappen, because they don't celebrate Checo in a warming way like they do Max when he wins. I think it was very embarrassing for the team. I think it was egregious, and I think it was disrespectful for Karen Horner, to come over the radio and say to Max that Checo got lucky, while as he was gapping Max by 2 or 4 seconds at any given point in that race. For Christian Horner to come across that radio and say Checo got lucky was very disrespectful to the ability, to the talent, and the skill that Checo showed everybody on a street circuit. There are men and boys made on street circuits. There are men and boys in tight quarters, and Checo showed he's a man when it comes to that. He is a street king. He is a minister of defense. Now, when it goes for George, I think George shows that he definitely has the gumption to do so. He has the gumption to challenge Max. Whether his skill and his ability are there in order to really push with Max, I need to see a bit more from George in the area of the space around Max. Now, he showed, I'm going to stick in there. I think what we saw Max didn't like at Azerbaijan was the fact that he got involved into a mirror match, and he didn't like what he saw because he saw himself in George, and George wasn't giving. Max put the pressure on, and Max is accustomed to when he puts that pressure on, other drivers will back out or try to save their race in their car like Lewis, and Max had that pressure on Russell, and Russell didn't back out. You're on the outside. I have just as much entitlement to this apex as you do according to the guidelines. I'm going to hold it. And if you don't like it, rush me for it. And Max got his car damaged. He didn't like that. Now, when it comes to Shaw showed us that he can do and deploy some tricks, and Max picked up on those tricks, so I'm not sure about that anymore. Checo, I think Checo does. I think Checo has heart. I think Checo has ability, but I also think some of the talents and the ability that Checo displays, he's very good at street circuits. As far as other ones, I need to see a bit more throughout the course of this season. But Checo right now is on a run. Checo is heating up. I'd like to see more of Checo doing that. And it's going to be crazy. If Checo takes over points for the Drivers' Championship, I think he will be the first Mexican to actually hold the Drivers' Championship at some point in time. I got to check records and maybe go back and see, but I think he will be the first Mexican to actually do that. And that in itself is a very good thing to celebrate. Galactica says no one was MS should retire. Michael Schumacher, but he got hurt crazy. Yeah, thank you, Galacticus. Nobody was out here talking about Michael Schumacher retiring. There's a double standard at all times applied against Lewis Hamilton by certain people. Not everybody. I'm not indicting everybody because some of you all are equal, level-headed. You have your debates. You have your drivers and your teams. But come on, at the end of the day, we're rational. But a lot of people I've run into, especially in comments here, they're irrational, and they're right. Nobody was pushing for that. Nobody was trying to do that, so why Lewis? Next super chat I see is Uno. He says, greetings, twin, everyone. Lewis, the GOAT forever. Lewis is the GOAT. And let me be clear when I say this. I like to see records broken. I like to see limits superseded. One day there's going to be a driver that's going to tally up and supersede all the other greats, Michael Schumacher, Lewis Hamilton. That's going to be the last stop. Who's going to do better than that? That's what we're waiting to see. Is it going to be Max? I don't know. It could be. I'm not down that Max can't be a great driver at some point in time. He's gonna probably he's looking to have the trajectory to get there. He's got the team. He's damn sure got the car. It's the fastest car on the grid, and he's got the ability, and he's shown that. Could it be him? It might. Could be Max. Maybe. We'll see. But understand this. Max got 2 races, 2 championships under his belt that have gray clouds, and one is just totally stricken. 2021 is an asterisk like nobody's business. 2022, it's got a cloud over it. So keep that in mind as well. Next super chat, Mary Beanie. Oh my God, Lewis ain't going nowhere. Leclerc will end up at Mercedes when Lewis is done, but he ain't finished his masterpiece yet. Red Bull will screw Checo at in Florida. Mary Beanie's calling it. She says Red Bull's going to screw Checo in Florida, and I'm not saying she's wrong. Why? Because we've seen a situation, whether you say it's directly tied to Red Bull personally setting out to do something like Alonso did by passing money out to mechanics to sabotage Lewis's car or not to work on it, however you want to put it. He did that. We've seen situations arise after Checo has a good showing and performance that dampens him. We've seen this, and it's been like clockwork. So you can't say she's wrong. All right? You can't say she's wrong. Yes, I do think Toto having Charles on his radar for a long-term situation as at Mercedes, I think that's good. Because those two right there, like you got Russell, he definitely will step up and be a leader of a team. Regardless of whether he's wrong or right, he's going to step up. Charles will not be that leader that force is going to be pushing and punching. He won't do that. But he still is a very talented driver that in the right machinery, we've seen he can do awesome things, all right? So who we got next? Let's see. Kirk Hamilton says, real talk, everyone interacts with Max like when the cameras aren't around. He is a bully. Facts. We saw what he did to Ocon. We saw the conversation that he had with Russell, and Russell was like, I ain't listening to this crap. I'm off. And Russell even said, I thought he was going to say, yo, good battle. I thought Max was coming to enjoy the fact that he had somebody that was going to battle him on track, but instead Max came and started crying about running into himself on track. All right, because a lot of people call Russell Max 2.0. Red Bull can only cuddle man's ego and tell him how great he is. And I'm not gonna lie, that seems like it's either they're quiet about it, like when Max was talking about fastest lap, it says we're not concerned about it. Not Max, listen, don't do it. Max was giving team orders, and what did he do? Like a spoiled brat, he defied the team orders and he screwed his teammate. You think that's left Checo? No, it hasn't. Because even after that, Max said on camera and gave everybody a bunch of hogwash about how he was going to be completely supportive and Checo was going to have everything he needed from me going into AD. I was going to give him everything, and he didn't. Why? We saw it. First corner, Perez could have went through. Max closed it off and kept it. Why? You already the champion, bro. You already the champion. Come on. Stop it. You think that left Perez? No, I don't think so. The only thing I question is Perez going to buck up like he should buck up and get the job done. And if he has the opportunity to be the world driving champion of 2023, will he seize that moment? Will Red Bull support that moment? Now, Christian Horner said ain't going to be no team orders. Both of these drivers are open to compete. We'll see if that's really true, because up until this point, that's not been true. Let me see the next super chat. Mary Beanie. Red Bull will do it to Checo because he's 6 behind Maxi. Oh, because he's 6 behind Maxi Pad. 6 points is not enough to me in order to dampen another driver, especially after what I've seen from him last race. It's not enough. But Mary Beanie making a point, Red Bull might do it. They might. They might do it. They might indeed do it. So let's go to the next one. He says that championship this year, of course, this is what it looks like. Of course, we already know that. We're still waiting for the upgrades in Imola. When that's going to happen, we're going to be in Florida, regular routine. So we'll see what happens when the car gets to Imola. And I know a lot of people thought maybe in Baku the car was going to change as far as aesthetic appearance, but it didn't. So I think Imola is another hard date that we're waiting to see. Is this car going to change? Are we going to see a totally different physically looking car? Blue Diva says Max has to take penalties. Red Bull will still hold Perez. Yo, I think that's true. I think that's pretty accurate. I think if Max starts taking penalties, then maybe then we'll see if they hold something, because, and I'm going to bring this over, if you look at what I showed you last time, right now, as it sits in the Red Bull team, Perez in EC and CE, which is your control electronic and your energy stores, he has 3 already. So anything happening in there, Perez is going to be taking grid penalties. Right now, Max is free and pretty much clear of taking a grid penalty for anything PUE related right now. Now, when it comes to the RNCs, I need to get that list, because indeed Max might be running in trouble there. That might be an area where he takes grid penalty, but up until this point in time, we didn't hear of any of those issues arising back as far as the drive unit or the transmission. So they may have fixed that, which is good for Red Bull. But the next thing it says, I have no doubt that he's motivated to achieve. Lewis loves to do this. We know this. Toto, blah, 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 blah. And they never denied, okay? Both Charles and Toto deny that there's been no official conversation between the team and Charles. But we already know they ran into each other at the airport, all right? And Charles used the word yet, which means not only is Mercedes and Toto Wolff open to possibly sign Charles to a long-term deal on the exit of Lewis Hamilton, but Charles is open to it. And Charles is open to it because Ferrari have screwed it up, the pooch. Okay? They screwed it up, the pooch. And he's tired of Bro, thanks for the super chat, bro. Big shout out to you. He's tired of it. So when it comes to this, I'm going to ask you this in the chat, and some of y'all might be like, that is sacrilegious. How dare you, Wolfpack? But I got to ask it to see where people are. I'm going to ask you. All right, I know you might not like it, but some people might have a different opinion. So I want to ask to be fair. I know what my opinion is, and I'm going to tell you. All right, so who is the better driver moving forward? And what I mean by moving forward, let's say the W14, W15 are still similar, right, in pace. Who do you still want to be around in that drive? Do you still want Lewis Hamilton to be piloting and trying to develop this car over the next course of the three more seasons? Or do you say, you know what, Lewis, like, do you really want to stay there with that? They should just go ahead and sign Shaw. Who do you think is the better Lewis? Like, we know who, like, I think Lewis is the better option. I think Lewis is the better driver overall. Do you think, oh, okay, here's another poll. I'm going to ask you something else. Because a lot of people actually said yes to this. Do you think that Lewis should have went to Ferrari? You think that? Mary Beanie says Merck will be present at Imola. Lewis is happy. W14. Hey, and I know that we've heard this before, like Lewis is happy. And then it comes out, performance of the car is not so great. And then post interviews of Lewis is not so motivating. Lewis is, I think there should be something to be said about this, because I think people ignore this. You do know, if you go back through the course of time, champions always didn't win the championship. All right, there were spells in there where Ferrari didn't win championships, nor did their drivers. There's been a spell, and you've seen it. Lewis didn't win all these championships. All right, so it happens. Mercedes is in a slump, and they're in a slump because of their car development. Now, it's been said that maybe they had the wrong numbers in the wind tunnel, and it led them down the wrong direction as far as the development of this car. How accurate that is and how damning that was for them, not sure. I'm not sure if I'm still going to let them have that excuse coming into this season. You saw it then, and it really wasn't great, and you brought it back anyway. All right, so at that point in time, you got to hold that bag, Mercedes. You do. Lewis can handle stress. Charles can't. He cracks. Boom. Bingo. Bingo, bro. That is a very good point. Charles, we've seen him several times under less stressing situations than Lewis Hamilton or other drivers have been in, and he has showed that he will crack and get soft in those moments. And that's why I said he's not a real profound leader. He's not. He's a talented driver. All right. He's a good driver, but he's not that. He's not that. He's making $24 million. All right. Do you think, what is Ferrari going to do without Shaw? What is they going to do without Charles? What is Ferrari going to do? Who they going to sign? Perez? You think Perez goes to Ferrari? If Red Bull craps on Perez, do you think Ferrari get rid of Shaw for Perez? Heck no. They haven't showed us that they would do something like that. And I'm talking about diversity right now. They haven't showed us that they do something like that. I don't know if they would, honestly. And then you have to wonder, if the seat's not open at Mercedes, where is Charles going to go? You think he's going to go to Red Bull? I don't think so. I don't think he goes to Red Bull. If he does, then hey, more power to him. I don't think that's going to do so well for his legacy building ability or his campaign to try to get championships because they're going to favor Max Verstappen. I'll credit Red Bull for that, making sure that they get behind their number one driver. But at this point in time, although 6 points separate your number one and your supposed number two, I wouldn't say that Perez is far from becoming your number one. But we're going to see what they do. Jefferson says, just watch Red Bull sabotage Perez in Miami. And I'm going to watch for that. And I'm going to call it out like nobody's business. If I see the same old dog and pony show that we've seen before, Perez does awesome, goes and lays down a race win, and in the next race, his car got trouble. His car ain't set up right. His brake bias is up. Like, come on, Red Bull, we got to stop with this. Now, that right there is underhanded like nobody's business. It's one thing for you to morally support another driver, emotionally support another driver, get on the radio and crap on your driver that just won you a race while it's you coddle the other driver. But for you to, like, give Perez a car that he doesn't like, it's not hard. Set the car up how Perez wants it set up. It's his car. I don't know how you make that mistake. It was so far off last time, it didn't even make no sense. Kurt Hamilton says Lewis' contract is going to probably contain a clause to retain him as a consultant. That's what I was saying, like a legacy type contract. But that probably has to go through Mercedes-Benz. But you know what? I think that's not hard. I don't think that's something hard for them to get done. And that's what I think Lewis is going to do. By the time Lewis is completely done with Formula One, there'll be a street named after him, just like Niki Lauda had. All right. Next super chat is Freak Dogs Flair, new VIP member. What if Mercedes takes Sergio after Lewis returns? Ooh, damn. Woo. Did not think about that while we're sitting here tossing up ideas. I did not think about that. What if, oh, man, that would be crazy. That would be crazy. What if Mercedes take Perez after Lewis leaves? Ooh. If Perez keeps on improving, I ain't mad at that. I'm not. Freak Dogs Flair, that was a good one to bring up. I'm not mad at that. That'd actually be good. But then what happens to Shaw? What does he do? Stay at Ferrari. I don't think there's anywhere else for him he's going to go. He's going to stay at Ferrari. And I believe Russell is a shoe-in for the next. I think Russell's going to stay where he is. I don't think he's going anywhere. If Russell goes somewhere, it's because he gets hot-headed and impatient, and he bolts. He bolts. Now, I'm not going to lie. I can see Russell doing something like hopping to Ferrari. If an open seat happens and they start looking like they're performing a bit better than Mercedes, I can see Russell doing something like that. I can see him hopping to Ferrari. Galactica says Charles can be third and boot Mick to play with Danny. Charles is not going to be a third. He's too good for that. I wouldn't want to see him be a third. He needs to be in a 1 or 2 seat. He needs to be on track. He's too good for that. Not a third. Mick is a third. Danny's a third. Liam is a third. Those drivers are thirds. But Charles is not a third for sure. That would be horrific for his career. He better not do something like that. Mercedes needs to make the W14 better for Lewis to win. They do. And Toto did allude to that, and he did speak to that. He said it that, what did he say? He says, and we just need to give him a car that he can do that in. So Toto fully acknowledges that, indeed, they have not done what they need to do to give Lewis the machinery to win a driver's championship. You don't need to, listen, your constructor championship comes by byproduct if you can make good machinery for both your drivers. But right now, Mercedes, you got your 8 plate. Lewis Hamilton didn't get his 8 plate. Your focus needs to be on developing a car that can let that man and enable his talents, his ability, and his experience on track to go win that 8th driving championship. And so be it if it's more. That's what your focus needs to be, Toto. That's what your focus needs to be, James Allison. That's what your focus and your makeups needs to be, Mike Elliott. Make it happen. Make it so. Get it done. Hoorah. That's how I feel about that. That's how I feel about that. So, yes, these things need to happen. 76% said about him going to Ferrari. I don't blame you, okay? Let me ask you this, though, because that's Freak Dogs Flair brings up a good one. I want to ask this. If Lewis leaves, who would you like to see in that seat? Oh yeah, this gonna be a cool question. I'm gonna give you some choices because Freak Dog Flair brought up a good one. That was a good one right there, boy. You hit one on the head right there. Here goes another one, and I got one more. I think definitely. Yeah, we gotta put him in there. I think that's valid. All right, here you go. If Lewis, who would you like to see in that seat? If Lewis leaves, who would you like to see in that seat? All right. Damn, 100% jumped on Shaw ASAP. 67% jumped to Perez ASAP. 67 to 33%. 75. Ooh, this is going back and forth. This might be a poll right here for the damn. This is some split deciding in here. Perez and Shaw tie. Oh, Perez breaks the tie at 44. And now it's even again, 40% split between Perez. Oh, Charles takes the lead. This is like a race right here. This poll has changed so much. Oh, we hit one on the head right here. 46% say Charles. Is that what's going to happen? Going once. Oh, they're tied again. 47%. Charles takes it back. Does Perez get another vote to go ahead and make them tied up at 40-something%? Do we going to get it? So right now, going once, 50% say Charles. Going twice. And, oh, they're tied again at 43%. 46%. So we're going once, going twice. Matter of fact, I'm going to change that card. I'm going to change that card. Right now, Charles is in the lead. 48% say Charles. They would like to see him going once, going twice, going three. Oh, Perez at 48%. Y'all are mixed in here on this one. There's some mixed feelings about who should take that seat. Freak Dogs Flair, you can congratulate him for that one, for tossing in that Perez. 45% going once, going twice. 44%, they're tied again. Who's going to break the tie? Who's going to break the tie? Next vote wins. Next vote wins. Mary Beanie says Checo going to Merck, not in this lifetime, but can see him going to Aston Martin. So he might go back and return to that team, because they had a Tracing Point, BW, all that. So maybe he goes back to Tracing Point, which is now Aston Martin. And can see Lando going to Red Bull. Woo, you can see Lando going to Red Bull. Dang, Leclerc going to Mercedes. That's a call out. So going once, going twice. Sold. Shaw gets it. That was pretty. That was pretty dicey right there. You all were on that right there. Jefferson says Perez to Merck equals Tupac from. Oh my gosh, bro said Perez to Merck equals Tupac from East Coast to West Coast, and that wasn't a good thing. That wasn't a good thing for me. Like when Pac went to the West Coast, his career was on a downslide. It was over from there. Like he bailed for all the wrong reasons. Mentally, I think he was fractured. He got with Suge Knight, which really wasn't the best thing for him. He kind of turned into a puppet for the Bloods type situation. Started repping a lot of things that I don't even think himself he really believed in and carried himself a certain way. And I think right there it kind of put his career on the backside. Like to me, Pac will not be greater than Biggie, in my opinion, as far as career and what they both stood for and what they did and where they stood at the end of the day. I think Pac fell short. I think he made some bad decisions. And I always kind of think about Pac when he made that, the song tributing women, and then he just kind of had a reputation of really not respecting women and kind of doing some things. So, but still, Pac, a legend in his own right. Music, definitely always going to be remembered. He made great music, but I just don't. Biggie definitely wins that to me. But yeah, that right there is crazy. Mr. T, what's going on? 48 Renzo, that I gotta get with you. Matter of fact, Sylvia Witt Kelly gotta hit me up for your shirt, bro. Hello and good evening, everyone. I gotta make a note about that. Matter of fact, Mr. T Renzo, get into the Discord and DM me. That's why I didn't remember. Y'all got to get in there and DM me. Get in there and DM me. Sylvia Witt Kelly said that she was going to go ahead and buy you a shirt. So a Purple Collection shirt. All right. So get with me in the DM of Discord so I can get your information. I can remember, and then I will invoice her for the shirt, and she's sending you a shirt. So big shout out to you for that. And big shout out to Sylvia Witt Kelly for looking out on that. Big shout out for real. All right. So right now I'm telling you that both of these drivers have situations that they are both currently in, and it's almost kind of like the frog hopping out of the boiling water and into a frying pan if they go either place. But what I will say right now is this, is I do believe that Ferrari is a much worse situation right now. Mary Beanie says, remember, Checo and McLaren, Jay didn't go well. that is another very good point. Mary Beanie, very good point on that. That is true. It didn't really go that well, but that was earlier in his career. Are we to kind of condemn Checo and says maybe he hasn't become a better driver than that then? Because I would think that Checo has put a few more tools in his utility belt, and I think he'd be a little bit more refined. I think Checo was a better driver now than he is then, and I would like to see him go as far as he can with Red Bull and hopefully win a championship to bring one to Mexico, because I think at this, I'm starting to almost believe that Checo is getting to the point of, does he deserve it? Like he's getting there, like deserving. If we keep seeing these performances from Checo undisturbed by Red Bull, he's getting into the realm of deserving to be in the talks of being a world champion. He's only 6 points off. I would like to, at some point in time in this season, see him be the number one in the Drivers' Championship. For real. Not saying discredit Max. Like, I don't want to see Max ever win another championship. If he earns it, then so be it. But I think Checo got slighted, and I think he's underappreciated and he's not undervalued. I think they know what they have in Perez. I think they just like to try to dampen it to facilitate Max Verstappen. I don't think Red Bull are fools. I don't think they're ignorant. They know, and they also know what they do, and they try to play the ignorant card to try to get out of things they do. But we'll see. But I think Lewis leaving to go to Ferrari and Charles right now, if we said today these drivers will swap, I think it's comparable to the frog hopping out of boiling water and into the frying pan. Mercedes has had their issues, and they still do. But Ferrari have lost and are continuing to lose a lot. David, Mattia is kind of like subtraction, addition by subtraction. Laurent, they losing him. Ferrari right now is in the process of losing key personnel. Mercedes is in the process of putting key personnel where they need to be. So Mercedes right now, they're on a slump, but they're starting to look like their slump and their descent to that slump is going to slow down, and they might soon be on an upward trajectory. I do believe that. Ferrari right now don't seem like they've settled that falling rock. They're kind of still falling, and every now and then meet terminal velocity, and they kind of meet a stall out. But I think Ferrari is the worst place to be right now. I do. Jefferson says we won't see Perez shout Merc side, West side. Merc side? We on the Wolfpack side, though. For real, that's a funny one. Damn, bro. Jefferson coming with the jokes today in the live chat. He coming with straight jokes. Galactica says Perez has and gives respect, would be dope at Merc. Galactus makes a good point. When they booed Lewis Hamilton on behalf of Max Verstappen in Mexico, because it wasn't on behalf of Perez, I really believe they were booing on behalf of Perez is with Red Bull. Max is the number one driver. They're going to support that, and they booed Lewis because of it. But I salute Perez for stepping up and say, yo, don't do that. Don't do that. You know what I'm saying? That was right. And I also, big shout out to Perez. I saw that young boy run out trying to get that autograph, and they were trying to stop him. And Perez said, no, let him through, and he did that. That was Lewis Hamilton-esque. I like that. I like the character that I see from Perez more so than Max Verstappen. All right, I do. Perez seems more humble. I think Perez has been pushed. You know that old saying, I ain't no killer, but don't push me. I think Red Bull have kind of pushed Perez a little bit in the wrong direction, and he's kind of like, nah, I'm going for it. And unless you stop me and sabotage me, I'm really going to be trying to get that. I think we still need to see if Perez in this RB19 next to Max can actually pass him. I think it was going to happen last race. Make no mistake. Perez was going to come by Max Verstappen last race. It was going to happen. They saved him by pulling him in. And it's good that they did that. OG Zilla, when Lewis retires, it definitely will be an epic, silly season. When greats to the magnitude of Lewis Hamilton leave the sport, there's all... Listen, I don't know why people don't... Listen, it's not that you don't believe it. You just hate on it, and you want to try to act like you don't. Let it be known, when Lewis Hamilton leaves this sport, it's going to be comparable to when the asteroid hit and the dinosaurs went extinct. It's going to be that magnitude as far as news busting, not as far as life. Don't get there and say, Lord, Wolfpack said that everybody's going to be extinct when Lewis Hamilton. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's going to be that type of impact, metaphorically speaking, in the world of news and Formula One. It just will be. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be that. And when that does happen, that season, I'm not saying it's going to be a bad season. That season is going to be crazy. It's going to be Walkers. It's going to be Willy Wonka Walkers. OG Zilla ain't lying about that. Galactica says Perez is for the people, just like Lewis. Good fit. He is. I do. And I think he's still got some more building to get there, because nobody in the history of Formula One has done, stood, or said as much for as many people having their rights as Lewis Hamilton. Period. Nobody. Do I need to say it again? Let me say it again. Nobody in the history of Formula One has done, said, or stood for as much when it comes to people's rights as Lewis Sir Hamilton has done. Nobody. Point blank, period. Nobody. Perez may never reach that, but I do think where he is right now is a very good ground and a good fit as far as that. Now, his ability to deliver in this car, his resume is being built as we speak. This season, Perez has the opportunity to build a resume that says to other teams, if he doesn't re-sign with Red Bull when his contract is up, that if you build the car, I will take you to the podiums and likely take you to a championship. He is right now building that resume, and he needs to work very hard in making sure that resume is strong. Because if he feels like I'm not getting what I should be getting at Red Bull to be the driver and the champion that I damn well should have been able to, he needs the ability, he needs that card to lead that team and go somewhere else and say, here, you want me. Oh, Aston Martin, we'll take you. We'll get Alonso out of here. We'll get him out of here. You know what? McLaren, we'll take you. Oscar, rookie, you doing good. Lando's a shoe-in. We got some decisions to make. I'm telling you, Ferrari at that point in time might be so bad off, they might start thinking like, yo, we gotta start coming outside the wheelhouse, like for real. It's too much we missing and we not doing to be the Scarlet Red team of Formula One love child and be this underperforming. I don't care. Bring Perez in. He's working on that resume right now. Right now. And he damn well better, because he should. Because I'm rooting for Perez. For real. I am. Not just based off, because against Max, because of what I've seen. I hate to see anybody held back that I think has the potential to do better than they're already doing. They need to let Perez cook. And what the vibe I get from Red Bull when Perez does well is not the same. It's not equal. It's not even close. When your team principal comes over the radio and says to the other driver, oh, yeah, our other driver got lucky. Don't worry about that. That was despicable. That said a lot. That said a lot about Christian Horner. That said a lot about Red Bull. It said a lot right there and then. And if Perez is listening, because he should go back and listen to that radio message, it should say a lot to him. Rambro88 says Perez has more of a championship attitude. Even if he's driving, can't get him there. Max does not. Listen, y'all. Max might have 2 championships, but Max is not a championship champion here and here. His driving ability, hey, I challenge that not. He's already proven that his driving ability can take him to a championship with the right car. And that's any good or great driver. You need all three. You need the team, you need the car, you need the driver. Max, boom. You drop him in the Red Bull right now with that RB19, with that team, and with Max, hey, it is what it is. Perez, I believe, is in the same. I think he's a lane just off, but he ain't far. And if we see another body of work and another race like Perez just did, y'all got to start giving Checo his props. Y'all got to start giving Checo his rightful due. I think a lot of people out here slighting Checo. Even after what y'all saw in Azerbaijan, y'all still want to try to go and say, I don't think he would. What are you all thinking? Checo had 2 to 4 seconds on Max. You don't think he was going to pass Max Verstappen? Max did not have it in that race. He didn't. So for you all to see strict, hard numbers right there in front of your face that said 2 to 4 seconds, putting a gap on Max, you don't think that Perez deserves the right of opinion for you to say he was going to pass Max Verstappen on track? I got to wonder what you doing, what you smoking, what you drinking, what kind of life you living if you felt that way. Paul says, big shout out to Paul, too. Big supporter. Big supporter. And by the way, we got another VIP member we're going to be announcing this weekend. Paul says, I made it. Sorry I'm late, fam. You know that work thing. Peace and love, Paul, bro. You ain't never late because you family. When you come home, bro. That's all it is. You get that work. You build that check for that fam. For real. Your family, Wolfpack family, going to be here with you. When you show up, you see we here. Hey, you ain't late. You just made it home, bro. That's it. Mary Beanie, 42 likes and 120. Mary Beanie, it been over that many people in this live. We damn near about to be over 400 people that been in this live, and nobody ain't hit the like button. Don't worry about it. It's all good. I know when you speak facts, it don't matter what people like that. Matter of fact, I got another poll for you all. I'm going to ask you this real question. And I feel like I know what it's going to be, but I just got to ask y'all to see where some people sit because I don't want to think for others. I want people to be able to vote and see how they want. Poll in the chat, don't dance on it, just vote on it. Or like Freak Dogs Flair says, you can do both. Do you think Red Bull Racing will support Perez? Do you think if he shows that pace, do you think they'll support him? Do you think that they're so underhanded and cutthroat that even if the other driver shows that he has the better chance to be a driver and champion, do you think that they will not support Perez? I'm questionable on that. I am. I really am questionable on that. I can't really say. And as like Charles's face right there, that's about how I'd look if they didn't. I'm going to be like, why did they do that? But I know why they did it. I don't even need to ask that question. They did it because of the type of team they are. So, yeah, I'm not confident that Christian will do that. I think Christian is hell-bent. I think maybe Max's dad done been in the back room with Christian and, you know, did some of the things that he's done in his past. And Christian's like, I'm going to do whatever I got to do to make sure your son, you know, is the only one that's a champion in Red Bull. I'm going to make sure he passed Seb's record. Seb is a 4-time Red Bull champion. I'm gonna do what I got to do, Haas. I'm going to do what I got to do to get Max up there to get that 4 so he can at least be Red Bull's tie greatest driver. 7 championships is not easy. I don't care what nobody tell you. It's not easy. Because when you're in the front, you got to target. And I'm going to tell you right now, Max has done himself a disservice acting like he acted in Azerbaijan. I'm telling you. He's going to have drivers right now like, oh, yeah, okay. You want to cry about stuff? Oh, you acting like that because you the champ? I got you. All right. We not even worried about looks. We gonna make sure we get real wide and get those elbows out when you come by, Max. We're not going to make it as peachy keen for you as they have. It's been reported that drivers said, I just move out of Max's way. Some drivers going to stop doing that. You going to start rubbing the grid the wrong way. You crying to Russell in the last GP, the last event. You think drivers really looked up to that? They probably looked and said, damn, he that bad? Golly, I didn't think Max was that bad. I knew he was bad. I knew what people said, but I didn't think he would come out of that car. I didn't know they put Pampers on him. I didn't know he had a bib underneath that race suit. I didn't know that Christian Horner had a whole bag full of cooled milk waiting on him. Like, that was not good. That was not a good look, Max. Paul says, I genuinely feel bad for Perez with that Horner comment. That's a sad day for a team to do that to their driver. And I'm going to tell you like Kenny B said. Yeah, I remember names. Kenny B told y'all. Go back and look at the F1 Minute post I put up. In some ways, there cannot be empathy or sympathy for Perez because he knows the team. He knows what's going on, but yet he signed that deal. He signed too early, but he signed that deal. And signing that deal, he took on what he already knew was there. I don't like it for him, but I don't feel bad for him for that. But I want to see him do well, and I want to see Perez go get it. For real. Spider R35 says the only time I ever heard Max give Checo props is when he held up Lewis and AD for the match. Yeah, he was calling Perez, oh, he's legend. He's this, he's that. It was like, oh, Perez. Oh. He was all Perez then when he was doing his dirty work, right? And Perez did a hellified job, but I didn't like it. But Perez was doing his thing. He got them elbows wide. And you right. Since then, what? What we heard over the radio. I told y'all why I'm not helping him, and that's it. And I'm not following team order. He crapped all over Perez when it didn't facilitate anything he needed. Max is a sore loser, and Red Bull Racing feeds into the crap. They put confectioner sugar on it though. They put a lot of confectioner sugar on it. Anybody ever wonder why dog poop is not white anymore? Remember back in the day, like you see dog poop dry up, it used to be white and now it's not. Think about that. That's kind of stuff that Red Bull do. They got the new age poo poo. It don't dry white. It just stay nice and moist and brown. You step in it, mess up your shoes. Jefferson says Perez been great in mediocre car like race. Hey, Jefferson, you talking some facts too, bro. You talking some facts on that. That's some real facts. Perez has been good in a subpar car. So that's true. That tracing point, that's true. Let me see. Galactica says Red Bull foil hat on with Perez, they will screw him. I don't even think you need no foil hat for that, bro, because we've seen it before. Now, I know people going to say, y'all speculating, y'all conspiracy theorists. What I'm speaking to is not a conspiracy. What I'm talking to is pattern. Go back and look. Perez does well, and for some reason, comes out the next race and is not so good. And we talking about car setup. We just heard him not too long ago in the other race. What was that? When we was back in Australia, all of a sudden now his car setup is jacked up. If we see that again in Florida, is that a conspiracy or is that just paying attention to patterns? I know you could say it may be patterns of what you want to see, but is it patterns what I want to see if the driver is actually saying the car setup is wrong? All of a sudden? Come on now. Nah, we not doing that. Y'all ain't going to do whoop pat like that, are you? Galactica said, I got that. We'll screw him. Okay, boom. So we'll see what happens. But yes, I do not think that these drivers and Charles and Lewis switching places is the best thing. One, for Lewis, because Ferrari is still fastly kind of descending as far as their organization. Now, the car showed pace, and Charles did what he did because he's a good driver. And that car, I think, right now at this point in time is better than the Mercedes. And that's why Lewis Hamilton was over there looking to try to take some notes and see what they kind of did. And we'll see what this W14 comes to be in this season. Uno says Perez should race for himself, even if he's loyal. I second that, twin. I second that. Perez should race for his damn self. He should. And I'm going to tell you what else, Perez. I'm going to tell you what else you should do. I'm going to tell you what else you should do, Perez. I'm telling you right now. Sergio Perez, Minister of Defense, Street King Checo. If you're driving and you feel like your team is screwing you, not only do the best you can, but start outing them on interviews. Start doing that. Start letting the Red Bull crap fly. Start telling them. Get like Yuki did on his press conference. The guy that we knew he was talking about. Perez, you need to start doing that. Start putting them on Front Street. You got to start letting us know that you know and you're well aware what this team is doing, and I'm finna let the world know. They screwing me. They got my setup wrong. I told them what to do. They didn't do it. This is what's going on. Let them keep acting up. You don't think some type of investigation gonna come out of that? But Perez, you got to take point, bro. We going into the jungle. We got the M4. We got that. We got the coverage overhead. We got the EA6Bs, the Prowlers. We got the F-18 Super Hornets up. You got to take point to lead that charge. Start calling them out on their bull crap on these interviews, bro, and start watching what happened. You want people to really get behind you, behind somebody who's doing the best they can to beat them best, but they got a team dampening him because they just want to support one other driver. Watch how many people get behind Checo, Minister of Defense, Street King Perez. I am. I tell you that right now. I come on this damn show and wear a sombrero for you, Checo. No BS. Try me. Try me. I do it. So we're going to see what happens. We're going to see. I'm telling you right now, Checo for champion. I'm telling you, because we already seen Toto said they ain't racing for driver championship. That's what Toto said. Toto said that out of his mouth. Why? I don't know, but it's the truth. He just told the truth. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. By the way, y'all hit that like button. We will be live again. You know I say work and hustle. We'll probably be live again before the end of the week. We got kart racing this weekend, so we got to see if I'm going to do a free practice or if we get done early and the rain doesn't come in, I might be able to get in and load up for a quality watch along again. Also, big shout out to everybody. We got a new VIP member coming again this race weekend. On Sunday, I will be presenting a new VIP member. This is our record-breaking VIP members this year, all right? I'm telling you, like, already we are up for real. You see the box is not there, right? You see the box is not there. The box is not there. Why? Because it went out to Freak Dogs Flair, the latest and newest VIP member. I'm going to have another box up here, before this weekend, and it's going to be ready for the next VIP member. So salute to y'all. Anybody who's got a badge, who's a Wolfpack member, you need to go ahead, get in the Discord. If you got a green badge, get with me so I can start getting your shirts out. Mr. T, Renzo, you need to get with me in the Discord. Got it sorted. Message me so I can get that going between you and Sylvia Wick so I can get your shirt shipped out for you because she wanted to go ahead and gift you a Purple Collection shirt. So I want to get that done as well. All right, I'm out. Big thanks. Peace.